Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be giving my NBA DraftKings picks for Monday, December 11th. We got a 6-game slate on this Monday, and like always, guys, before we get started looking at the slate, if you could drop a like on the video, I would really appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel, if this is your first time watching a video on my channel, thank you so much for clicking on the video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that way you'll never miss out on any of my new videos. You'll get notified every time I upload, so make sure you do that, guys. I would appreciate it as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started looking at some point guards on this slate that we want to target today. Alright, so up top at point guard, we got James Harden, Russell Westbrook, two studs up at this position. I don't think I want to pay up for either of these guys today. Harden's going up against the Pelicans. I'd imagine Harden's going to be guarded by Jrue Holiday. I would think they'd put Rondo and Chris Paul, but I'm not really sure how that situation is going to work. Whichever guy sees Holiday, that's definitely the tougher matchup. Holiday is a much better defender than Rondo is, and I feel like Rondo might guard Chris Paul in this spot. So I think I might want to get exposure to Chris Paul if I'm getting exposure to the Rockets. Harden's really expensive today, 11,600. You're going to need close to 60 DraftKings points, if not more than that, for him to really return value on this salary. There are a bunch of other studs that we can target on this slate that are a lot cheaper. They definitely have upside. So I don't think I'm going to be paying up for Harden. Russell Westbrook's in a really tough spot going up against Charlotte. They're really good defensively against the point guard. They've been really tough on point guards this year. I don't think I want to pay up for either of these guys. They're not the studs I'm looking to pay up for today. We'll talk about the studs I really like when we get onto other positions. So moving away off of those two guys, looking for other point guards that we can target. Like I said, Chris Paul. Really like this spot for Chris Paul at 8,100 going up against the Pelicans. I feel like he's going to be guarded by Rondo, and that is a much better matchup rather than being guarded by Jrue Holiday. And Chris Paul's just been really good lately. He's been hitting value. His last two games, 58, 43 DraftKings points. He's been showing plenty of upside. Almost put up a triple-double the other night against Utah. Chris Paul's just been playing really well since he came back from injury. Really like him at 8,100. I think the price tag a little bit too cheap. We're going to need about 40, 45 from him to hit cash game value. He has tournament upside on this price to get 6, possibly even 7x. So I really like this spot for Chris Paul at 8,100. I think if I'm getting exposure to the Houston today, it's probably going to be with him going with the discount, nearly a 4K discount off of Harden, going with Chris Paul, 8,100. Really like him in that 8K price range, that mid-tier. And then looking for other options that we can target in this mid-tier. I think it's a really good spot for CJ McCollum going up against Golden State. I would imagine with no Steph Curry that Klay Thompson's going to be guarding Damian Lillard. And CJ McCollum might see defense from either SHAUN Livingston or Quinn Cook, whichever one of those point guards gets the start for the Warriors today. So that is a really good spot for CJ McCollum. Really good matchup. He's very cheap today at 6,800. If this game's going to stay close and stay competitive, it's going to be because of McCollum and most likely going to be because of Lillard as well. I know both of these guys have had some really good games in the past against the Warriors when they've had competitive games. So definitely like CJ McCollum here. Really nice price tag of just 6,800. You need about 35 DK points from him to return value on that salary. I think he definitely gets there today. So I like CJ McCollum at 6,800. I think Jrue Holiday is also in consideration for 200 less. But with Anthony Davis returning, that really hurts Jrue Holiday. I am recording this video on Sunday night. Holiday did have a really nice game Sunday night against the Sixers. The Pelicans, they are on a back-to-back, so definitely take note of that, guys. I'm recording this on Sunday night. Holiday did play really well Sunday night against the Sixers, like I said. But with Anthony Davis coming back, I don't know if I want to pay 6,600 for Jrue Holiday, especially when I can get Rondo, who we'll talk about in a second, who's a little bit cheaper. It's just been a lot more consistent lately that I think has maybe even more upside than Holiday. So I don't know if I'm going to be on Holiday. I think he's fine, but I probably prefer CJ McCollum for just 200 less in that price tier. Then there are two point guards in the 6K, 5K range I really like. The first one is Kris Dunn at 6,100 going up against Boston. Definitely not the most ideal matchup against Boston. We know they are a good defensive team. But I think Kris Dunn's probably going to see defense from Kyrie. That's a much better matchup rather than being guarded by Brown or Smart. So I think Kris Dunn in a good spot here. The guy's just been crushing lately. It seems like he hits value just about every night. And at 6,100 for him to return value on that salary, we're going to need about 30, 35 DK points from him. And like I said, he's been doing that lately. He's been showing upside as well. Has a 52 burger against Charlotte, put up 43 against the Knicks. Just really like Kris Dunn today at 6,100. I think him and Rajon Rondo, who I also like at 5,800. I think both of those guys are great mid-tier options at point guard today. Rondo just been playing really well lately. been very consistent with Anthony Davis coming back. Rondo's assists are going to go way up. The scoring and the rebounding are probably going to go a little bit down with Anthony Davis coming back. But the assists should be way up. I know he put up like 14, 15 assists Sunday night against the Sixers with Anthony Davis playing. So I really like Rondo today at 5,800. I think if I'm just choosing between him or Kris Dunn, I think I would prefer Dunn, but I think both of these guys are great options today. Kris Dunn at 6,100, Rajon Rondo at 5,800. Definitely guys that are going to be on my radar today. Then looking for value at point guard. 2 value plays I see here, 4K and under, really cheap options we can target. The first guy is David Nwaba at 3,800, going up against the Celtics. Obviously, not the best matchup for Nwaba, but this guy's just been really consistent lately. He's been playing some really nice minutes, 32 minutes against Charlotte, 31 minutes against the Knicks. So 32 and 31 minutes in his last 2 games. Has put up 30 and 28 DraftKings points. And he is only 3,800 today. For him to return value on that salary, you need about 20 DraftKings points. And he's been doing that lately. He's been getting really nice minutes. So I think David Nwaba at 3,800, definitely a good value option that we can target today. And then the last value option I want to talk about is the Warriors point guard situation. Whichever guy gets the start, whether it be Livingston or Quinn Cook, one of them could be value options that we want to target. Livingston did start in their last game Friday against the Pistons. He played 25 minutes, put up 16 DraftKings points. So if Livingston gets the start again, this is definitely a good matchup against Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard's not a very good defender, so I really like Livingston as a value option as well. If he continues to start, or if Quinn Cook gets to start, I think either one of those guys could be value plays we target at point guard under 4K. But yeah, guys, what I'm seeing at point guard today, let's go ahead and look at some shooting guards. All right, so at shooting guard, there's an option this mid-tier that I really like. Just 100 more than Chris Paul. I think DEMAR DEROZAN, also a very good option today, going up against the Clippers. DeRozan's just been crushing lately. In his last 4 games, he's put up 43 DraftKings points and 43 DraftKings points or more in 4 straight games. 43, 44, 46, and 43 DK points in his last 4 games. So DeRozan's been really consistent. Definitely a good matchup against the Clippers. Not sure who they're going to put on him defensively, whether it be Rivers, Lou Williams, even Gallinari. Either one of those guys, I think DeRozan can win that matchup. So I really like him at 8,200. I think he is a great option at shooting guard if you can find the salary to pay up at this position. Definitely like DeRozan here at 8,200. And then looking for mid-tier options, really like TYREKE Evans for tournaments today at 7,200. Evans has been showing a ton of upside lately. In his last game against OKC, he put up 56 DraftKings points. About a week ago against Cleveland, put up 63 DK points. So I really like Evans for tournaments. Definitely a good matchup against the Heat. They're not that great defensively against a shooting guard. So if you want to go a little bit cheaper, you don't want to pay up for a guy like DeRozan or Chris Paul at shooting guard today, I think a guy like TYREKE Evans makes a ton of sense, especially in tournaments at 7,200, just with the upside he's shown lately. And then I already talked about CJ McCollum, Jrue Holiday. You can play both of these guys at shooting guard. Kris Dunn, 6,100. Also think he's a really good option as well. Then maybe looking for some value plays that we can target at shooting guard. I think ETWAUN Moore at 4,500. Definitely a guy we're going to want to consider going up against Houston. This is an up-and-pace game. This game's going to be played at a fast pace. Should be high-scoring. Definitely a game that ETWAUN Moore should thrive in. And the guy's been playing a ton of minutes lately. You just look at his last 4 games, 35, 38, 39, and 40 minutes. Even with Anthony Davis coming back, ETWAUN Moore's still seeing some pretty heavy minutes. And he's been really consistent lately in his last 4 games, 22, 39, 22, and 22 DraftKings points. At 4,500 for him to return value on this salary, we're going to need about 22, 23 DK points. He's been living right in that range lately. So I do like ETWAUN Moore as a cheap value option. You can target a shooting guard or small forward. And then the final value play that I want to mention at shooting guard, Nwaba is also here, so is Livingston. If those guys are value options you want to target, they are eligible at shooting guard. There is a really cheap guy I want to talk about here. He's 3,200, so definitely a punt play you can target. That's Alex ABRINES at 3,200, like I said, going up against the Hornets. Now, right now, as I'm recording this video on Sunday night, Paul George and Andre Roberson are both questionable for this game. It looks like Paul George is going to play. Not really sure about Roberson. I guess he's sort of 50-50 to play. If either one of those guys misses, whether Roberson misses, Paul George misses, or even both of them don't play, ABRINES will move into the starting lineup. He has started the last 2 games with Paul George out, and he has played 26 and 43 minutes. That game where he played 43 minutes, that game did go to overtime, but still saw a ton of minutes even in regulation in that game. Put up 30 DraftKings points his last game against Memphis, 15 DK points against Brooklyn. If Roberson and George, either one of them are out today, ABRINES should be moved into the starting lineup. Should see really nice minutes. If he's making his shots, he is a very good shooter. If his shot's falling, he will play a ton of minutes. His shot was really falling against Memphis, and you played 43 minutes in that game. So Alex ABRINES at 3,200 could be a value play if he's going to continue to start for either Roberson or Paul George if one of them misses today. Definitely think you can target ABRINES as a cheap value option at shooting guard or small forward. But yeah, guys, what I see in this position today. Let's go ahead and move on to small forward. Alright, so at small forward, up top of this position, we got Kevin Durant here, 10,900 going up against Portland. Obviously, KD is going to be a guy we want to consider. As long as Steph Curry's out, you just see the production the last two games with Curry out. Durant's put up 72 and 73 DraftKings points. Got a triple-double his first game with Curry out against Charlotte. Nearly had another triple-double, was 3 assists shy of a triple-double in their last game against Detroit. So Durant's just been killing it lately with Curry out. Definitely a guy we're going to want to pay up for today. I think him and another guy we'll talk about in a second, I think are the top two studs on the slate. Durant's going to be a guy definitely trying to force into my lineups, even though the price tag's starting to rise. He's just been playing so well lately with Curry out. So I think Kevin Durant, one of the top studs on the slate today, definitely a guy going to want to try and fit into your lineups in my opinion. And then looking for options in this mid-tier, we can target small forward. I don't see a lot of options here that I really like. Doubt I'm going to be on Carmelo unless Paul George is out. Probably not going to be on like Tatum, Brown, Waiters. I guess we can look for some value here. There are some value plays I think we can target. As long as Cody Zeller and Frank Kaminsky remain out, Marvin Williams, definitely a value play we're going to want to target at 4,700 going up against OKC. I'd imagine Marvin Williams is going to see defense from Carmelo Anthony. Definitely a matchup. Williams can win. Melo is not a good defender. And in his last two games with both of those guys out, with Zeller and Kaminsky out, Williams has played 40 and 28 minutes, put up 34 and 22 DraftKings points. And at just 4,700, you need about 25 DK points for him to return value on this salary. And as long as Zeller and Kaminsky are out today, Marvin's going to play a ton of minutes. Should not have a problem at all returning value on this salary. So I really like him as a value option today at either small forward or power forward. He is eligible at both positions. And then, like I said, I talked about like ETWAUN more. He's eligible here if you want to play him as small forward. I think ABRINES is available here as well. But yeah, guys, what I'm seeing as small forward, not a ton of options I'm really in love with. Definitely a position I think you want to pay up for a guy like KD. You can play DeRozan here, TYREKE Evans I talked about. But if you're not paying up, I think you just go cheap with a guy like Marvin Williams, ABRINES, ETWAUN Moore, maybe even a guy like Denzel Valentine. You want to go there at small forward. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to power forward. Alright, so at power forward, this is another position I'm going to try and pay up for today. If I can fit in Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis, I'm going to try and do that today. I think Anthony Davis is in a great spot going up against Houston. I think DeMarcus Cousins, also a guy we can consider. But I just really like this spot for Anthony Davis. I'd imagine DeMarcus Cousins is going to have to deal with CLINT CAPELA. So that is sort of an equal matchup. CAPELA does match up well with DeMarcus Cousins. But Anthony Davis is probably going to see defense from either Ryan Anderson or Trevor Ariza. And Anthony Davis should just totally be able to dominate in those matchups. And on Sunday against the Sixers, Anthony Davis did not have a minutes restriction, so he's not going to be restricted by any sort. The Pelicans are on a back-to-back, make sure you note that. And Anthony Davis did play like 40 minutes on Sunday. I believe DeMarcus Cousins only played like 28 minutes. So that's definitely something we're going to want to keep an eye on. But as long as AD is not restricted today, I think he's a great option at 10K. I think he dominates in this matchup. Houston doesn't really have the guys to match up with these two. They've got CAPELA, but they don't really have another option that can really defend either one of these guys, especially Anthony Davis. I think he goes off today. In my opinion, him and Kevin Durant are probably the two studs I'm trying to pay up for. So really like Anthony Davis at 10K. Really nice price tag. I think he's a great option if you can pay up at power forward or center. There are definitely some options in this mid-tier we can target if you don't want to pay up here. I think Draymond Green, a great play today at 7,400. DraftKings has him listed as questionable, but he's actually probable for this game, so he's expected to play. And with Curry out, Draymond Green's also been playing really well lately. Just in his last two games, 53, 46 DraftKings points. The assists and the rebounds have really been up lately for Draymond Green. The scoring was really up as well in their last game, or their 2 games ago against the Pelicans, where he put up 19 points. But if you just look in their last game against Detroit, it just shows you the kind of upside that Draymond Green has. He literally scored 2 points and still managed to put up 46 DraftKings points. Just because he does so much else besides scoring. He'll grab rebounds, 6 rebounds, he'll assist, 13 assists, got 6 blocks, 3 steals. So Draymond Green's going to do a little bit of everything. He has so much upside. So at 7,400, he's been playing really well lately with Curry out. The fantasy production's been great lately. Really like him at 7,400. I think he's a great mid-tier option if you don't want to pay up for either Boogie or AD or even Kevin Durant at this position. And then looking for mid-tier options at power forward, I really like LAURI Markkanen today at 5,200 going up against the Celtics. I feel like Markkanen is way too cheap. You just looking at his last 4 games, the guy's been really consistent. Even if you don't look at the last 4 games, just like the last 10 games, just been really consistent pretty much all year. Like, you just look at the last 9, 26, 30, 27, 33, 22, 28, 20, 41, 29. And at just 5,200 for him to return value on this salary, you need about 26, 27 DK points. He's been averaging almost 30 DraftKings points this year. Definitely a better matchup against the Celtics. He'll probably see Tatum defense. Obviously, Tatum is a solid defender, but definitely a matchup Markkanen can win. The guy's been playing a ton of minutes all year, even with Mirotic and Portis coming back, even with them in the rotation now. Markkanen's still seeing over 30 minutes a game. And at just 5,200, with how consistent this guy's been all year, I think he's a great cash game option. I think he easily returns 5 to 6x on this price tag. So definitely a guy I like at power forward today. You got Marvin Williams here as well. If you need to go a little bit cheaper, he's 4,700. Definitely like him as a value option. And then looking 5K and under for value at power forward, I don't really see any value plays, really cheap options that I like. It will be interesting to see who starts for Jusuf Nurkic today. If Meyers Leonard gets to start, going up against the Warriors could be a spot where Meyers Leonard does well. It is a fast-paced game, should be high scoring. And Meyers Leonard is a pretty solid scorer. He is a good shooter, so this game could favor him well. He did play pretty well against Houston, played 20 minutes with Nurkic out, got the start, I believe, in that game. Put up 20 DraftKings points in 20 minutes. So if Meyers Leonard continues to start for Nurkic, could be a value play you want to target power forward or center at 3,800. But yeah, guys, what I'm seeing at this position today. Let's go ahead and move on to center. Alright, so at center, if you're not going to pay up for Boogie or AD, definitely some options in the 7K range we can target today. I really like Marc Gasol at 7,800 going up against the Heat, who are going to be without Hassan Whiteside. Definitely a good matchup for Marc Gasol. Without Whiteside, Gasol should totally be able to dominate in this spot. And at just 7,800, you need about 40 DraftKings points from him to return value. He's been averaging 40 DK points this year. So I would say it's very likely Gasol returns value on this price tag, especially since Miami is going to be without Whiteside. I think Gasol, definitely a good option you can target if you can't afford one of the Twin Towers at this position. And then looking a little bit cheaper, maybe to the mid-tier for some options at center. Not the best matchup for CLINT CAPELA today, but he's going to have to play a ton of minutes to guard Boogie and AD. He's one of their few guys that have this with size. I'd imagine Capela plays like at least 30 minutes today. You just kind of got to hope he stays out of foul trouble. But if he plays the minutes, he's going to have to guard these guys. He should not have a problem with returning value on this price tag. So I think CLINT CAPELA in that mid-tier center definitely makes sense at 6,500. And then looking for value at this position, I think Jonas Valanciunas is a sneaky little option today at 4,400 going up against the Clippers. Since the Clippers have DeAndre Jordan, they have a big guy with size. They're going to need Valanciunas to play some minutes here. We've seen Valanciunas against the Pelicans this year since the Pelicans have Boogie and AD. Valanciunas has played some heavy minutes against them. On the 15th, November 15th against the Pelicans, Valanciunas played 29 minutes in that game. And I believe they played the Pelicans again earlier this year, and Valanciunas played heavy minutes in that game as well. So whenever the Raptors are going up against a team that has a big center, Valanciunas usually has to play some nice minutes, and he's always a guy that when he gets minutes, he can produce for you when it comes to fantasy. So I think a value play at center, I think he makes sense today at 4,400. I feel like he's going to have to play minutes to guard DeAndre Jordan because he's really their one big guy with size that they have. So I definitely like Valanciunas at center as a cheap option. 4,400, I think he makes plenty of sense if you need to go cheap at this position. And yeah, I think that's it for center today, guys. I think that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already, and make sure you subscribe as well if you haven't already. I would definitely appreciate it. If you have any questions or need to ask me something, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or just leave a comment on this video. I will be sure to get back to your question. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck tonight, guys. Peace.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, she shaking fast. Yeah, she dropping slow. What? Yeah, neck on fro. Whoa, 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 whoa.